I would argue, a requirement to get past Lycus Empire here, who have shown some good stuff in ECL, but have yet to show me in crunch time that they're a roster to be feared. As soon as the pressure is on for that kind of a roster, that is where I think that they crumble. And so in that aspect of things, I expect for this boss team to have their act together here. So welcome to Train, folks. We'll see how things actually fare for Boss as they go charging down the Brown Halls, and Sauce instantly gets the entry to open up the account here for that CT side, and TABEN actually finds another one as well. It's all up to Darty, and they just swarm that B bomb site from all avenues.
Yeah, quick rotation off the lurk pick over towards T-Con. And then the fast flank from TABEN stabs him in the back. Frizzy's around as well. There's still the Heaven player too. And just nowhere for Boss to run and survive. They can't even fight their way out, despite the good opening pick by Sauce onto Nightblade, who was in a good spot to shut them down with the dualies. It's a critical first round, denying the bomb plant as well, coming in from Lycus Empire. And now it's going to be a deco out from the Boss boys. And Tech 9 on the Dark. And Darty's going to charge on him, but he can't bring that spray to bear, and it's going to be an open now. Know what's up. It's another shot. A lineup for Frizzy, but he's only opens up another opportunity. MP9 beating it up with Nightblade support, and so Lycus only lose one on the anti-eco. Here comes their first real test. Rifle read forthcoming from Boss on the T side, and at least one MP9 in hand for the CTs.
Pretty underhanded situation there for Boss, but they'll get it over the line like his Empire, no problem. Get the guns out here and the following, and this is where you instantly call in just the leadership aspect. What is that first buy round game plan here? Especially with minimal utility, you can't really cause multiple phases of the default. You've got to slow things down, and in some instances, you've got to speed things up, where that first volley of utility, and get themselves top dog control. The question is, what do you want to do with that? Because T-Con is still firmly in the favor of the CTs, and Sauce is tasked with at least keeping them out temporarily here.
Well, let's see. As Lycus don't need to move. They don't need to push or aggress. They have Boss who needs to make a play. And Boss keeps the Boss down to utility less and less. It's a good Molotov on a Doom's position. Counter flash to keep him alive briefly. He tries to chuck in a nade, but Sauce knows exactly where he is. And B-Wills out of Pop Dog will come in, or I guess Long Dog now. I see better call out. Gets one. Sauce will finally swing, but Slight taken down. TABEN, Magic, and Nightblade. A trio of kills now making a quad as 3 out make for 4. And B-Wills a consistent tap on the Magic, but that's going to be it. 3 kills, but no plant again for Boss as the actual take comes up short once more. They had a couple of pieces. That opening pick onto Doom could have started things well. Sauce adding another one to the picture, but right now, Slight and Fruit Cup, the 2 players we talked about, you particularly highlighted, and I have to wholeheartedly agree need to be good, are blanked on the scoreboard, and it's a half buy upcoming. This is not a good start for Boss on the east side. Maybe, just maybe, that auto can might be back to bite them.
See what they can get done here, though. Eventually, that max loss bonus will give them that extra bit of juice to make those site hits complete. But for right now, they're trying to work around Darty's advanced positioning. Darty gets all the way up into hell here, searching for Doom. TABEN available as well, but the wherewithal from Frizzy to just 180 check hell is to be commended. Instantly, all that excitement from the round just dissipated.
Had a snake in the grass, someone in the back line, and it just goes awry. Brilliant read from Lycus. They have to know with utility down what the possibilities are, and the Deagles at range do not need to get peeked. Lycus know it. Why give up a free kill? Why give up a rifle here? As time is their ally. Boss don't have a lot of utility. They don't have firepower. They only have 2 players with armor here. It looks like it's going to be a BN with Nightblade to receive it. AK in hand, fast rotation too. Magic's already leaning over. Lycus are reading this perfectly. This is exactly what they need to do at this stage. 30 seconds. Wherever Boss show 2 is probably going to be the take, and it's about to be a heaven push. That smoke still up. Magic on the angle. Now Boss tossed the util. Now they prepare to go. They're still taking their sweet time. They have to dive bomb this, and if the bomb gets dropped, which it does, that could end it. Doom's got 2 coming in from Z. Make it 3, and Nightblade the last one to find as Fruit Cup walks right out. Lycus Empire reading Boss like a child's picture book. And what can Boss do? Where is that leadership? And where are Fruit Cup and Slight?
Yeah, I think at this point, can't really ask much from them at that point of the round, especially considering, again, lack of utility, meaning dry fights galore that will always be CT favored. That is just the nature of Train at its core. You need to find a way to dislodge some of these positions, and that's not a good start. Sauce missing the Molotov over at Pop Dog already caused some concerns. A Brownhole's crunch on the cards here for the CT side, and there's got to be some wherewithal here from Boss. And instead, they just give up that position. Beeble spots a barrel, but can't convert the kill. Instead, they'll hold on to this Pop Dog control, and Slight will actually put in work elsewhere. So they're finding a way to claw back this map control, and they're doing it very, very well. 3 kills all on the T side's favor opens the door up to that B bomb site. They'll get a rotation in, and they don't really have to speed things up here, Boss, but Fruit Cup offers up his life, continues to come up short here so far to start out Train. But still, as the dust settles, you should still favor Boss to close this one out.
Boss, but a missed shot from TABEN that could have changed things had it connected. Does become much more likely as a Boss lock, and with Magic on 500 bucks in the bank, there's no way he can go for this retake. He's got to save the AK into the next round, as the rest of his team will be on a bit of a struggle, at least for TABEN. Doom will have money, Frizzy and Nightblade as well. TABEN might be a little worse for wear here on first round loss. But overall, Boss will get there first, and comes at a bit of a gift as Lycus go 3 aggressive into Brownhole. I like the initial idea. I don't know how much I like them just sticking around in those areas without anybody watching for Slight's angle. Once that first pick comes through, it does kind of cause that whole 3-man push to crack and crumble.
Terrorists win.
Here we are, the 1 round on the board for Boss. Can they turn it to 2 in a row? If Lycus can isolate this, that's where their snowball can grow. That's where they can really gain that CT confidence. And look to put up a map win on Boss's pick here on Train. The MP9 in Doom's hands gets the op over to TABEN. I like that. Good economy. They still have 2 kits as well. But Slight has his big 3. And this could be the game changer. Train, an old optic map. Let's see if Slight can start. I think Frizzy's in aggressive position though. And no brown hole push. 4 outside play coming in from Lycus Empire.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's nice not to rinse and repeat that idea, just because of how disjointed the Brownhouse take was. You didn't have any Pop Dog presence, which is a necessity if you want to actually commit to that. And so instead they back away, they kind of hole up a little bit more. But look at Frizzy. Frizzy has gotten into no man's land here at a chance at an early flank as they continue to constrict upon this B offense, and finally he pounces much earlier than I would have expected. And with that, Fruit Cup off the mark and a chance for the T side to continue to extend into this B bomb site. Again, you can slow these rounds down a lot more. And that's what they're looking for here. Just anything on offer to punish before re-executing into this B bomb site.
There is the utility in hand. Plenty of smokes, flashes, and Molotovs available for Boss. In comes the utility. These are here in a third. That's great damage from Magic. A kill plus 4 on that smoke spam. Nightblade up top will have an easy kill. The dead man walking, finally put to bed by Doom. Does at least take TABEN with him, but that's 3 alive plus the op saved. 2 AKs moved over for Lycus Empire, and the 1-round-1 for Boss is isolated. Something Boss could not allow to happen. They will be able to get a buy up again, sure, but the utility is going to be more lacking. And overall, Boss kind of look lost in the sauce on this T side.
I think they definitely do. The concern right now is just what their game plan is in the mid round, especially if they're getting an opening pick or two, if they're getting space. They're not able to do anything with it. Maybe Fruit Cup can change that, though. Aggressive, he goes into the Olaf position, but Doom is there to respond in kind. Doom still lives to tell the tale, takes bullets from the side of the train. And with that, a 4v4 instantly, you still feel comfortable for the CTs. Luckily for Boss, Sauce still retains T-Con control, and they're re-clearing Brown Halls as well. So all hope is not lost, but I love this active feeling from Lycus Empire. As soon as they lose that T-Con control, going for IV space, planting at least a flag with a rifle and magic, and then giving a chance for TABEN to move back into the outer yard. This is more like it.
Ooh, nice entry there from Beewles as Nightblade goes hunting, trying to take advantage of the Peeker's advantage, but he's punished. The op from TABEN, though, can still be the game changer. As Boss look to execute into the outer yard. TABEN smoked off. Aggressive, spots one. Sauce walks into his crosshair. TABEN around, unscopes but sees him. Moving around the corner. TABEN! He's only got Doom. Can he strike? Has one. Spray to the smoke. His low HP is undoing, but Magic on the flank can turn this round on his head. Back to the favor of his team. He cannot find B-Wills yet. Bomb in his possession.
Oh.
This Molotov again from Boss. They are having a lot of utility trouble here. As the bomb goes down, Magic's on the prowl. Only the flash kick, but it's going to come down to the fight as B-Wills looks too far. Overextends from his cover. And Magic clutches up. Boss might have had the clutch factor last night, but right now, Paladin, it looks like Lycus Empire have the X factor.
Yeah, the difference between Golden Horde and Lycus Empire is one team has never been at this stage in their career, and the other have done this at least for a season consistently. And for Lycus Empire, you can already see that they're putting together these rounds pretty smartly. Active in mid-round situations now that they've got the round buffer. And now confidence in the clutch as well. Very uncharacteristic in terms of how some of these players are playing these late game situations. But the missed Molotov stalls things out. And to make matters worse, it's just once you get that bomb down, you should still be favored as a T to close it out. Look at how many angles you would have to clear as a T.
He doesn't have to run the camera. He just has to hold his
I don't even think he was trying to leave the camera there. I think he's maybe considering that there's a crossover in the hell, but I think the whole point of that matter is that he is the one that tries to make the first move there, which I don't think is necessary once you've got that time pressure with the bomb going down.
It's an unforced error. And the unforced errors are usually the backbreakers. And for Boss, there's been a lot of them. Even given the opportunities, too, that missed second shot from TABEN was another door wide open. Another push towards Pop from Nightblade. Doom, rather. Nightblade's down lower. Gonna push in. Doom gets mowed down, but Frizzy right around the corner. There for the trade. Traded out once more. Magic has fallen. TABEN on the side has to lock it down. Spots one on the ladder, but he can't connect the shot. Good KZ from Fruit Cup there to stay alive as TABEN goes around the smoke and to his grave. Fruit Cup knows where he is, will not relent. Nightblade, the last one, still in position. Crouches under the crosshair. And Boss find their second round. But again, it almost feels like Boss are winning these rounds when Lycus make a critical error. And the error snowballs into another kill, rather than taking rounds on their own initiative. One thing, though, Lycus Empire are broke. Despite having a 6-1 lead into that round, now 6-2, there is no money at all for this team. Full
Yeah,
US one flash.
Boss have been putting in quite the economic pressure throughout this game. But I think for the most part, you're starting to see at least semblance of these T rounds, and it's trying to get Fruit Cup as active as possible. I was saying this in the previous best of 3 as well, that I watched these guys play. And it's getting Fruit Cup in as much fights as possible. Okay, hold on. This shouldn't be happening. 2 rifles recovered, and the B bomb site is still under siege, so it should be all good. But either way, I think getting Fruit Cup in the most active spots as possible, treating him like your star instead of just a blunt weapon, is going to be the way forward for this team. And I already started to see some ideas like that, where they're putting him more in the middle position, on Ancient, things like that. I don't want him as a side anchor anymore. I want him to be that tip of the spear that is given space, that is flashed for, and is given the tools and keys to the kingdom. And you can kind of see that success is tied to those roles, especially with how they start off some of these rounds and the rounds that they're successful in.
Yeah, Fruit Cup should be your shot cavalry. He shouldn't be your pike that defends the jungle.
Terrorists win.
He needs to get active. He needs to get in there and open things up. Another guy I'd like to see wake up and kind of have a little bit of those activities is Slight. He's got the op right now. Get that op to go take a peek. Flash him in, take the pick, see if you can find that player. Use the op for the long-range pieces. The Boss now clawing their way back in. I think 5 would be a decently successful half, especially considering how abysmal the start was. And if Boss can claw this back to 6, that is nothing short of incredible. And out goes Fruit Cup. He's the one going aggressive, not Darty. The Pop Dog unseats both Darty and B Wills. Sauce is tagged too. Fruit Cup off the angle. That could have been huge. Comes in. They know where he is, though. He's falling out of position. TABEN sprays him down. Sauce falls. Fruit Cup nothing as Doom doubles it down. Frizzy had the 2 and pop. Doom on the exit. And Slight, he's behind the smoke. Sitting here. What's he going to be able to do?
Not much, I'd imagine. Molly is well placed, well predicted as well. And now Slight will be given a couple of engagements. So Frizzy is also close by. Switches back over to the USP. Can't connect. He's been given a considerable number of opportunities, but finally the bullets of magic long range slow him down. He can't get around the corner. And Boss will have to give away a 7th here. And then you could start to see that if Fruit Cup is not finding any initial success, a lot of these rounds kind of fall apart, fall on its head right very quickly. Lycus Empire have got enough fundamentals to play off of some of their teammates that this CT side is just getting the job done. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not doing anything crazy. They're just playing some really active CT sides, is what you'd like to see. Finally, Slight takes it a step further and goes ahead of the utility to get an opener.
That's exactly what I wanted from the op. Precisely what I wanted from Slight here. Take initiative. Go play train like it's meant to be played. Op goes in, tries to find the opener. If it gets there before the utility, great chance it can. It's a gift as they try to storm in towards Pop Dog. This Ivy push, though, might actually yield something if Magic can actually get through. There's nobody watching it. He, of course, doesn't know that, but a T-Con Crunch 2, this, if coupled with an Ivy push, would be so good. So much map control and information for Lycus Empire. But Sauce is waiting for a push. That's exactly why they need the pincer maneuver. They need that push from behind.
Oh.
Sauce gets caught by Doom. That's a duel Sauce needs to win 100% of the time.
Well,
that's a lot of info, too, for Lycus.
Yeah, now at this point, the round's kind of falling apart. You can dedicate a second player here to this B bomb site. You have a side anchor and a deep op line as well. But that Molotov actually gives away his own teammate's position. He's been caught out in no man's land. That's a brutal Molotov mishap there. TABEN trying to pick up the pieces as the bomb goes down. But things get a little dicey here. He's got to back away and at least wait for some of these smokes to fade before he can put in some impact.
He's going to try and escape, but and TABEN combine to put him down. Doom straight out. Slight's got the op. B-Wills around towards Z. It's a nice heads up to TABEN. And now Magic's 1v2 is going to run out of time. He's got a good Molotov, and he has B-Wills too. Only a flash, though. A smoke would have been a huge boon against the op. Gonna have to come down. Shot here. That's going to win the round for Slight. He'll drop the flash out. Magic's already off of it and bailing for safety. Slight has to run.
Terrorists win.
Will stay alive, but a critical fourth game for Boss, which at least puts him at the bare minimum of a recoverable half at 4. Really
I mean,
fifth, though.
I'd have to imagine that Molotov essentially loses them the round, because I think Nightblade has at the minimum 1 kill on his plate, maybe 2 if he plays his cards correctly. Maybe he's able to even dive into that smoke that is set up on the brown halls. I just thought just a completely unnecessary Molotov at that point in time. I think you can always deploy that heaven side and train yourself on that brown hall angle, but unfortunate circumstances lead to this. Mm-hmm.
Frizzy doesn't have a day. The Deagle, it's not too bad. Cup. That tip of the spear that you wanted to see. It's the first. Around, dodges a flashbang. B-Wills exposes him. Nightblade comes in, but B-Wills turns. Frizzy one-steps out to the 4, escapes past Slight and drops a beautiful hit on the very same. Frizzy, though, finally runs out of ammo and of HP. And Boss will grab 5. A scrappy start and a scrappy end. We'll see what happens in half 2. But they do have Fruit Cup up in Palace. Boggs and Paladin on the mic as we enter into this second half of action. 7-5 in favor of Lycus. And no goals for Boss.
For how tough this T side was for Boss, still getting away with 5 is fantastic. But now converting off of the good looks on that first half will be the name of the game here. Execution into this B bomb site. Instant goosh into conversion for Magic. Frizzy continues to push forward, trying to take all of this space. This is how you play a B bomb site pistol, and things look good temporarily for TABEN and Frizzy until they hit the deck. Now all of a sudden things get put right on its head. 4v3 turned 4v2 for a Boss, and all the kills come up the way of the blue side. And it's just Magic pushed to the back of the bomb site. All these low HP bars, but he gets eviscerated. What a retake there, Boggs, from Boss, all things considered.
Great retake, but they do let the bomb go down. So Lycus Empire can get a force buy right now. And that's going to cause some trouble, I think, for Boss or this next round. Boss need that second round of the half. They need that second after pistol. This is now the most important round of this map. And if Boss can't convert it, things get so difficult for them. Although Lycus, we're thinking about going for the save. Now TABEN goes in on the Galil. Yeah, buy's going to come around. 3 Galils, 2 Tech 9s for that extra utility. Only 1 flashbang. A bit interesting. And it almost for sure means it's going to be something real slow from Lycus Empire. Maybe trying to find a pick on an aggressive Boss push, which is quite a decision. And a little bit of a risk of this Ivy control too, trying to take a long-range duel. They got their Galils there.
You've got
that gap against the MP9. It's going to be tough.
a couple of ideas when you've got this limited utility. It's an Ivy take, and it's a Hull stake. These are really your only options. And they're basically peering into both avenues, hoping that something does offer itself up. But with that utility advantage comes a good bit of time now for Boss to stall things out. They spot one of the prongs. And it's up to Darty to do some good work here on this B bomb site, who already has, when you look at his body of work in that pistol. So instead, Lycus Empire turned their attention to this A bomb site. And again, they're just whittling down this utility bit by bit. 3 smokes and a flashbang. Gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting here.
That flashbang's gonna have to do so much to allow these pistols to close the gap. See what it can do. Time's running out. 27 seconds to go. Lycus have to make a play. That flashbang has to be immense. Smoke goes in. One more smoke should follow. Sauce has to be careful not to get overwhelmed. Although if he can isolate the duel versus Magic, that Darty's on the flank, but he is caught. B-Wills does get one, but it's TABEN Nightblade of Magic who really opened the score line here into this round. Swipe around the camera. 1+ damage. Can't get the second yet, but Fruit Cup here to save the day. Almost at the end of the time. Nightblade falls, and it actually was just after time. The clock had just struck midnight. And Nightblade ended on a pumpkin. That's a rough loss.
And now you don't even get at the bomb plant, so you can't even reconsider repurchasing. It's just a nightmare scenario here for Nightblade. But at the end of the day, Boss still find a way to right the ship. Finally looking a little better in these late round situations. Granted, on the CT side, it's a bit easier to protocol manage. TABEN hits the deck there, drops over a Deagle. But now you're starting to see some of these individuals get a little bit more pep in their step. Sauce going for that engagement in T-Con. Fruit Cup getting frisky. Darty now pushing into the brown halls as well. And the crunch is successful.
And a great flash from Sauce. Cut the Fondo there. And also, again, you mentioned how you need to have that pop dog control on the brown halls push. It's exactly what Darty was waiting for over in ramp. He was waiting for that push from Slight. And that's what opened up all of brown hall on that crunch. That's why it was successful, is they went together. And Boss started out very slow. Fruit Cup in particular started out very slow. I think he was 0-5 at one point. He's now 16-10 and tops the scoreboard on the entire server.
He's got that bounce back potential, I'll tell you that much. I mean, he's a very hot and cold player at times, but when he's hot, he can carry that kind of momentum for a long time. I think about the only reasons, or one of the big reasons as to why they were able to deal with the Golden Horde came down to some critical clutches from Fruit Cup and some critical positions from Slight as well. But it really did come down to what Slight was doing.
It did. And that's exactly what you need from your more experienced players, too. In Darty and Slight. That kind of coordination, that kind of team play. Those guys have played together for a long time now, off and on. And it's good to see that coming through. I really would like to know who's calling for this team right now. I would have to assume it's B-Wills, just given how long he's been around.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or maybe they're just kind of running with it.
It might also be one of those teams that they're like, okay, well, we're doing enough right now that we can just do this by committee, which never, ever seems to work out in the long run, from my experience. We'll see if, Lycus Empire tends to be that issue for them, but I think a lot of these decisions very heavily relies upon how deep this boss roster goes this time around. And straight away, a bit more active opening plays here from Boss as they take T-Con pretty easily, and Doom just gets ripped to shreds.
Fruit Cup does fall. The nade should do for Izzy. That's a well-placed return from Slight. And the trades, it's 2 for 1. Will favor out for Boss. Still want to keep him even on the CT side. But that man advantage, well worth the aggression. The losing Fruit Cup does hurt. That does give Slight a little more of an activation. He's still yet to get his op, although I think he'll get it into the next round. Right now for Lycus Empire, they don't have a lot of utility. They're almost in the same situation Boss were in early on in that first half. No utility on the T side, losing their players early, and just walking about the rest of the map. And Slight's got a bit of an angle over that smoke. Magic, nothing he can do. Darty's just outplayed Taven 14th degree. Waits for Nightblade to walk. Takes cover, has help. Oh, that's a brilliant shot by Taben to take out Slight. Darty's still making a menace of himself, and B-Wills comes in on the backstab. This is more what I expected to see from Boss. The coordination, the communication, it's finally coming together for them on this map. That's a real good bit of work there from the Boss team-wise. And there is the op for Slight. He'll drop over that M4, the M40 when he had his hands. And for Lycus now. It's half by time. But round 18 is where a lot of their map rests. And then we'll see how important Anubis really is. Because, yeah, it was already going to be important coming into the veto. But if Boss win this map, it really is to stay alive for Lycus Empire. And that would mean that this train start that kind of got gifted to him over something like a Dust 2 might really just come back to bite him.
Yeah, and again, we spoke about this being the auto pick, so this veto could have been much worse than it actually was. But when you get a chance like this, it just feels so unfortunate to slip through your fingers, especially with a start that you had. Now all of a sudden, Lycus Empire need to come up with some magic here on these pistols. They'll throw in the A execution smokes and they'll have a bit of utility to cut the distance down, but Slight hits his mark and that should be enough, you'd think, and Frizzy can't even convert that close range Tech 9 shot. Magic still is left up in this one, but he'll just get a parting kill on the Fruit Cup. Double digits found for Boss, and as you mentioned, they're kind of getting a little bit more comfortable now. This is the Boss that we're looking to see close this one out very cleanly.
And the other thing, too, is that Boss is only going to get more and more chemistry the longer they play with this lineup. So the longer they play throughout this qualifier, the better they'll probably get. Now, I think they'll hit a plateau as far as cooling is concerned, even if they have a set IGL, the lack of time they have to. But as it stands, Boss are looking so good now. Sauce does trade out B Wills. It's a 1-for-1 that could open up space for Lycus, but Doom was alone. There was nobody else with him. He was just shot out of a cannon, and kind of like Sea of Thieves, you have your guy get on the boat. If he can't 1v3, it's no real point. You just lost a player.
And now, what is that plan B for the Lycus Empire? Caught between no man's land right now. No Ivy control. Again, looking towards this A bomb site. Deep T-con smoke does not actually thwart with Magic's ideas here. Oh, I would have said that. Molly certainly did. Doesn't actually hit the mark. Extinguishes along that T-con smoke. So they're still aware of this possibility here, mind you. So deeper smoke deployed, and they can rinse and repeat this idea if they so please. They absolutely will. Now he's flushed out, but can't actually get converted on by Sauce. 40 seconds left on the clock as Pop Dog control is confirmed by the T side. And they're knocking on the door of this A bomb site. At least temporarily. I think this might actually be a fake.
Yeah, there's a lot of lean towards inner. Boss have not taken the bait. They've smelled it in the water. They've seen it. Now they're starting to bite on it, but Sauce taking out Frizzy. He's going to go back. And now Darty spotted the bomb. That's all the information. The bomb went out first. And while Fruit Cup may fall, the rest of the team can come through, and Darty can still be a menace on his own. The bomb plant, though, comes through. Tom Molotov's going to be a little bit late, but Magic's still going to take significant damage off of it. Both these players below half HP. A nade to do them in. Slights dropped it in. He takes down one, and all but the second. Perfect utility coming in from the Boss Opper. And that's a brilliant retake again. Darty bides his time. Boss don't overextend. They don't over-rotate. They don't panic in these situations. And the experience proving to make a difference for Boss. As we move towards what could be the last couple of rounds of this map, as there's going to be a rough time for Lycus if they lose this next round.
Yeah, I gotta commend Darty's anchoring abilities there. That's why they're having him on this team for as long as they have. He's learned through so many of these match scenarios, and he's become just so much more cool in those circumstances. Knowing that a fake potential is possible, doesn't give away too much of his crosshair or his positioning. Still finds one, still keeps the man advantage alive, but in this one, he might be up a creek here. Kill opening for Doom, and Darty's actually thinking about getting a bit more frisky at the top of the brown halls. A back spotted. Darty taking one head, but Nightblade there quick on the trade. Slight in for the rotation as Fruit Cup also makes his way through. And that smoke instantly causes a little bit of concern for these Boss players. No conversion for Slight. That should have been one to hit the body, but instead Lycus Empire will turn their attention back to this A-bomb site with Long Dog control.
Doom trying to find an entry, gets spotted, and B-Wills, while it might be a bit messy, will finish the job. Magic over towards front Z, though. B-Wills still yet to be unseated. Getting rotation in from Slight in this 3v3 as the bomb goes down. The flank from Fruit Cup, though, is really what could change things, but that's a good win by B. And the op on his ankle. Nice shot by Frizzy. And Fruit Cup red, but Frizzy overshoots him. The crouch slide from Fruit Cup works out perfectly, putting Magic in the 1 versus 2. It's planted for him, but he's in a bit of a rough spot. Where they molly him off. It's not going to work. It doesn't even matter. Dink and the follow-up from Fruit Cup, who pops off late. Comes in clutch. And Boss now with map point and 5 of them as well. Have Lycus on the ropes. Their buy is going to be severely lacking utility. One thing, too, I feel like Lycus Empire have not utilized their timeouts as best as they could on this team.
Not at all, and that does come back to haunt them, because as I mentioned before, Fruit Cup is a guy that will live and breathe off of the momentum that he creates on his own terms. And as you saw there, that's a youngster that has now learned how to play in these circumstances. Just so decisive in his movements and completely rips one away. And look at this, now Sauce has his turn in the spotlight, lining up 3 kills for himself. Fruit Cup chimes in at the end with 20 kills. And Boss completely changed things up here. Completely.
It's a flash in the pan. I'm Boggs, joined by Paladin. A 7-5 half lead, a 6-1 lead at one point, turned into a 13-7 loss to Boss. As now we move into Lycus Empire's pick of Anubis. It was a must-win for them coming into this best of 3. It's must-win to stave off the lower bracket now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, I don't really feel that excited about what Lycus Empire have on offer, especially considering how hot players like Fruit Cup got towards the end of that one. Even Sauce having a bit of an opportunity as well. So now with Boss getting a T-sided start on Anubis, the world's their oyster. This is the chance to just go tearing through this opening round and put all the doubts to bed, at least temporarily, before having to play stiffer competition.
Oh yeah, this is a great opportunity for Boss to get an easy start to this qualifier. It's stage 2, it's double elimination, but they can take out Lycus if they can do it 2-0. Although they do lose Darty on the pistol, that's a good not a good pistol, but now it's Mikey chime in. Frizzy's trying to push through mid as well, but it's just a beautiful meat grinder for Boss to just farm, and Sauce adds a second on the B side too. Boss might have lost the first player, but they lost no one after that, and take the pistol round very convincingly on this T-side start on Anubis.
And it just really comes down to just decisiveness on that T-sided calling. I think the big thing is, again, when we look towards the tail ends of some of these rounds on Train, there were issues. When you keep it simple, when you don't complicate the strategy all too much, I just feel like the pedigree of these individuals that are on this Boss roster can just get the job done again and again. And if you want to go through with this hodgepodge roster where you don't have a dedicated IGL, this is the route in terms of figuring it out, at least for this first opening event, before you have time to figure out how you want to approach it as a 5-man roster.
Yeah, it's definitely some time to settle in, get some reps in, and kind of start figuring out the direction you really want to go. Losing your IGL shortly before the qualifier is a pretty big blow, but Boss seemed to be recovering today as Fruit Cup will get the last 2. And it's a 2-0 lead, only losing 1 again. Not bad at all. The rifles are recovered. That's the important thing. Now we actually get the first gun round of this one. But Lycus Empire have a lot to prove. They want to make a case for taking this map and bringing this to a 3rd. If we do get that far, that would be Ancient. But on the note of Ancient and Anubis, at what point do we get cash in the pool?
I want it now. I want it now.
Same. Now, what map do you want out the most is the question.
Inferno, very easily. I think that's not even like a question in my mind. I think Inferno is just a far too slow-paced map for what we have in Counter-Strike today, and Frizzy wants to speed things up alongside Magic. A quick 3-piece between the 3 of them. Or the 2 of them, rather. 3 kills between the 2 of them. And now Fruit Cup and Darty left up in this one. Bomb dropped in the middle of mid.
The bomb was the first contact.
Unfortunately.
Walking through a smoke. That was a call. And I think that's the calling by committee that can sometimes lead to disastrous circumstances.
Yeah, I think sometimes you'll have this game plan, this plan A that goes through, and then once that plan A fails, that's where you look towards a leader to dig you out of a 4v5, a 3v5. But you don't have that in this situation. It's just kind of players aloof in certain circumstances. And right now, Darty will remain aloof around the camera, and he'll be spammed down by TABEN. So first round instantly taken by Lycus Empire, and that's exactly the kind of response you want. 3 AKs recovered, 4 players kept alive. And you just want to put this pressure on Boss to produce these late round situations a little bit more consistently. This is your home turf. You're undefeated over these last 3 months. Let's try to keep it that way.
See what they can do. Time to start stacking the rounds. Half buy investment for Boss here. As they'll go fast into B, the Molotov goes and extinguishes itself in the smoke, allowing Fruit Cup to free reign of the E-Box. There's 3 players here, but only 2 left standing. Make it 1, as it's up to Magic, who backs away, trying to stay alive in this 3 versus 3. Gun upgrades available, 1 already there for Fruit Cup, and not a bad player to have that on either. As he sits with the M4A4, TABEN Magic both coming the same direction. CT spawn, Frizzy over towards Canals. Fruit Cup not on the angle. B-Wills wants the AK and is creeping towards it. Spots out 1, but he has not grabbed it. That's the important factor. But Fruit Cup holds the line for Dark. Peeks out for the second. Can't quite convert, but B-Wills trades. AK finally gleaned. And look at the time. Frizzy has no way back in. And so it seems that Boss will win the half-buy investment. It wasn't even a full force buy.
Terrorists
They're
win.
gonna get out of it only with 1 gun, but that's not the point. The point is that Lycus just lost a round they had to win.
I mean, you look at the cash, they've got oodles of it over on the Boss side of things, and that's what happens when you get so much space as the tease. It doesn't matter what weaponry you have. If there isn't 3 players dedicated to that site, 3 players rock solid on that site as well, I mean, he can collapse like a house of cards if 1 player does hit the deck. And you can just see the importance of staving off these tees off of places like E-Box, places like B main. And how to make matters worse, you've lost A main control. Darty with an instant entry to put pressure on the CTs. When you're in these kinds of 4v5 scenarios as the defense, trying to dig yourself out of it is a nightmare sometimes.
Oh yeah, they just go for aggression. Out B main. All of the Fruit Cup's waiting arms. Yeah, there's a trade eventually. But that's 3 kills to the price of 1. Yeah, one of them was on A, but that push out, and now Darty gives it back. This is a winnable situation for Lycus. A bit of an over-aggression from Boss leads to a chance. Lycus Empire desperately need the round. They can start getting something going, avoiding the snowball of the T-side. If they're able to push that staggered. But Magic falls into the flames and burns alive. And TABEN thinks there's still somebody middle. There's no chance for him to win this one. He's got to try and save. But there's not a lot of time for Lycus Empire. Yeah, it's still early, but they need rounds and they need it quick.
Absolutely. At this point, you can already see this T side festering and brewing in confidence. And all you can really do is just watch it happen right in front of you. I would say need more active decision making, and they tried doing that with that dry B main push, but that is the risk that you run, where you got to go into Fruit Cup's crosshairs at that point.
Terrorists win.
Even going 1 for 1 there might have been admirable. There's something that you can work off of that, but going 2 for nothing, that just spells disaster. And now Lycus Empire don't really have much to work with. They pretty much have to give away 5 rounds beyond what TABEN can have on offer here, but let's see what he wants to do with this sniper rifle. A main's an option, a flash in for a mid peak, maybe even an E-Box pop flash. These are all options.
Options, but what will be selected is the question. Looks like a pretty stock standard heavy B lead on the pistol, as it's not really a chance to go for that rifle aggression yet, but TABEN trying to fight. Takes a dink instead and falls away around the obelisk. Able to get 1 though, a chance for 2, but a chance is quickly shut down by Sauce. Bomb plant in, pistols will come in on the road. Slight already there to cut down 1 from the stairs. This round's almost done and dusted again in favor of Boss. Lycus Empire. I think a timeout into the gun round would be a very wise call. Figure out what they can do. Because right now, although they get a lucky pick, actually 2 kills? 2 guns saved is massive for the economy.
Well, I was gonna say nearly 3. Team can't hold on for long enough, and Magic will not be able to hold on to it either. Fruit Cup dies, but Look at how much cash in reserve they have. It's no problem. Honestly, net positive them for there, just not to hold on to the AWP. Don't think TABEN can actually invest into it here unless he wants to go glass. And he won't, so actually critical kill there from Fruit Cup at the tail end. And now, a chance for Slight to exert a bit more pressure on that scoped rifle.
See what Lycus can do here. Slight goes for the pick. Nobody's pushing. Mid's completely abandoned as well by the CT side. They're going to the extremities. 3A, 2B. Now a bit of a re-aggression towards middle. Doom goes aggressive. But look at the con with the Canals control. Sauce has all the information. Knifeblade's been caught. Has made noise. Has been heard by Sauce, who does not miss the second entry as well. And for TABEN and Frizzy, they've seen nothing, heard no one, and they're going to try and save. Boss are about to go up 6-1 here on the T side, and it continues to just snowball in favor of Boss, who have now only lost 2 since it was 6-1.
Crazy to think about in the grand scheme of things, but I think for right now, Lycus Empire, they're spinning a couple too many plates here. You're going for mid-aggression in that kind of position, but you're also going for a dry B main fight. I think in these circumstances, you're kind of jumping the gun everywhere, and I don't think that's advisable moving forward. It's not sustainable, is the biggest thing. There has to be some sort of push and pull. And right now, Boss are just dragging Lycus Empire all the way to the finish line. Not really sure what they can do differently in some of these circumstances, but I just think the way that they're approaching B right now is just too forward-facing.
It's just very one-dimensional. There's no depth. There's not even a second fallback opportunity. It's just one set. And the one set just doesn't work. And again, mid's completely abandoned by Lycus Empire. The only change they've made is putting 3 on me.
Flash through.
Slight spotted him though. He survived the op shot. There's still help down low from Fruit Cup as they realize B main has been retreated from. They go back in. And I think this is going to give B-Wolves the green light to keep moving up towards mid. Whether they end A or B, I think it's going to be based on the picks, but they do have the option with the bomb over to just explode onto this A side. Darty might just catch a couple pushing. The nade's good for his position. But Boss are out protocoling Lycus Empire. They're out aiming Lycus Empire, and they're conditioning Lycus Empire really, really well.
And look at this. 45 seconds left on the clock. B-Wolves is already knocking on the door of Camera. That Molotov will push players forward. There's a team kill involved, but Darty's there for the trade. It's all up to TABEN here on this A site, and he re-peeks to his own death. That's a beautiful little sequence from Boss. And Lycus Empire, again, no real answer to these key pieces of the map being just discarded from them. They lose mid control. You're essentially staring at it from the temple side. And your A main players are stuck to try and deal with the consequences. The rotations are not swift enough from the heaven end. And they just basically just get boxed out of their own bomb site that they're supposed to defend in the first place. So, all in all, Lycus Empire look completely out of their own depth on this defense. And unfortunately, it's getting to that point where it's a bit too late.
Yet again. They're not even contesting it at all anymore. They've completely abandoned that section of the map. They're giving it up. They don't want to fight it. They don't think they can hold it. And the timeout comes going into round 9. That's 3/4 of the half done. You've already lost 7 rounds, and you're finally calling a timeout. It's too little too late. Now, if they go on a streak and win 4 out of 5, or these last 4 rounds here, bring it to a 7-5, sure, maybe things can come back and turn around. But it's still a far cry. And the odds they do it, they're not great.
Yeah, and that's the biggest issue, is that you're running out of chances to really make this a respectable scoreline, and I don't even really have a high note to really push for this DT side. It feels very disconnected. It feels like their dry attempts at taking space feel very readable. And for them to disassemble, you've got to find a way to jostle the default a little bit more. So far, Boss playing to their own tune. Neutral smokes up on this B end, causes that third player to rotate on over, at least consider the rotation over to long side. But again, Boss focusing on taking care of Canal's control and maybe leaving Fruit Cup as a late lurk if they want to split onto this A bomb site. The spacing looks good, and they've got a lot of time if they want to redirect back to E box and into B.
In goes the push. No flash for Frizzy yet. He's sitting in pool. Now he's blind, but so are the Boss boys. Molotovs rain in, but Darty wins that fight. Gap in the flames. In they go. TABEN only one as B Wills follows up his entry. Fruit Cup around. Waiting for mid rotations. Perfect shot on a Nightblade. That is a great read. Once again, Lycus Empire are trying to save.
Yeah, I mean, Boss really there. Taking that A main space is critical, but that team flash essentially costs Lycus Empire the round. I mean, you're talking 2-3 players completely blind, a free option for Frizzy to just go ham on that A4. And instead, you're heavy-handedly giving up fountain control, and your AWP is restricted to just one kill. He will spots one player hiding away in the temple, but he actually spots out the other player as well. Either way, it doesn't matter how many guns you save. The fact of the matter is it's just a terrible scoreline to try and dig yourself back from. And again, I can't stress this enough. Fundamentally, there is nothing to celebrate right now for Lycus Empire.
Oh yeah, no. Even if they win a flawless round here, it's still not enough. Even if they win out the next 3 and end the half 8-4, there's so much more they have to do. And just what we've seen from them decision-making wise, rotation-wise, aim-wise, is not enough. And this was their chance. This was their advantage in the veto. But Darty's going to get flashed in overextension and overconfidence from Boss as they give a couple of kills over to the A main players. B Wills gets caught as well in mid. All of a sudden, there's the opportunity for Lycus Empire. They need these rounds. They need them desperately. But if Boss can take away 2-3 guns, it's still not going to be great for Lycus Empire as far as economy is concerned buying to the next round. And once more, 8-4 the best case scenario for Lycus Empire. Maybe Boss get a little wake-up call again here. We'll knock on the door. Hey, focus. They've left B. They've left B, Paladin. They've completely abandoned B.
I think they've overcomplicated the situation just a bit too much, but Magic will still be here once that C4 tries to get punched in. Smoke is up though, and that's the most brutal thing. They're aware with how open this B bomb site is, surely there's an encroachment from these CT players. So now a real chance for Fruit Cup and Slight to cook. These are the heavy hitters. These are the guys that you want in the clutch. And a real opportunity here now that Magic's shoulder has been spotted. Slight hits the deck, and this is where Fruit Cup's job turned into a nightmare. And any damage would have been nice, maybe even a second kill, but either way, Lycus Empire will get themselves that second round on the board and will inch towards at least a semi-respectable score line.
Counter-terrorists win.
The fact that Boss get a bomb plan out of that is ludicrous. Lycus Empire overcomplicate, they overcompensate, and they put a situation where Boss could have maybe even pulled that 2v5 off. I think the missed shot from Slight did open the door and a quick kill of him as well. Huge. Buys back for Boss. They'll be able to buy out the rest of the half here. It's the penultimate. I believe though, down into Canals very early. This is going to be early. It's not being silent at all. And what are Boss doing? They're going mid. I don't think they've gone for a full mid-exec since they walked through a smoke so many rounds ago. Do they expect TABEN around with the op on this angle? I don't know. It's going to come down to timing too, because he's just left. The door is open. And Boss have found the timing. When things go right, they keep going right.
Now they've taken back the angle, and this could be problematic for B-Wills, and he will get punished. Smoke can still come up into Temple here, giving a chance to just go straight at this AWP. Magic now also going to have to turn his attention in just a little bit. Finally does. Here comes the A main push. A bit more discombobulated here from the Boss end, but TABEN will be there to punish these mistakes, as Boss don't really feel like they have enough gas left in the tank here. Double swing comes out from Doom and Nightblade, all up to Fruit Cup again. Any damage, as always, will be commendable, but Magic will be there to end it out. 3 rounds now, the good for Lycus Empire, and you're starting to see them punish a lot of these kind of mid-round situations a bit better. And as we kind of saw on Train, for Boss, it was not necessarily how they started, it was how they finished and gaining that momentum to spiral into the second half, which Lycus Empire can kind of gain here at the very tail end.
Lycus grabbed the critical fourth. Default from Boss in this round, as they're not going to go for the group-up play. They've been getting overconfident in the last few rounds, and I think rightfully so in a way. They were doing everything right for so long that you kind of get lulled into a false sense of security. But Lycus Empire finally woken up. They took a very long nap. See if they were fresh enough to counter. Timing for Slight to be able to drop that ball in. Sauce could pick up a kill into a deep trade. Messy spray. But he gets it. Nate's gonna do a lot of damage to him, though. He swings in for more. He almost takes out Doom, but Doom wins it clean. Relative wave flash in. Oh. Doom does spot Darty, but he's able to duck around the corner, find safety into this 4 versus 4. And I like this push-up main from Lycus Empire. He's ready for it. He catches the drop. He does so much damage. He's got the information, but he's got 2 players to worry about. And Doom will finally put him down. But look at B-Wills, all alone. They have no idea where he is. Oh, he's waiting for Fruit to kill the op. And Doom has no idea. 3 versus 2, and Magic's on 12 HP. And these little gaps in the armor that Boss can continue to exploit remain a major focal point of Lycus Empire's weakness.
And now, Frizzy and Magic left with no map control, no space, and quickly running out of time, but they still find a kill on a Slight. But of course, B-Will still stuck in Temple, still has potency in this one. We'll throw it to a little bit of a break before Boss can look for the 2-0 sweep here in Stage 2.
Well, we're back into it as Boss took a commanding lead in the first half of the map pick of Lycus Empire. Boggs and Paladin here on the call. And Paladin, Lycus Empire need a pistol round and a whole lot more to make anything out of this map and thereby this series.
Yeah, a hope, dream, a wish, a prayer, all that good stuff. And straight away, they're going straight into this A grind of position for the CTs. Fruit Cup and Sauce both find one between the two of them. And now Magic's pulling on to just his dear life here on this end. Luckily for the Lycus Empire, they found an opening onto this B bomb site. And this leads us into a 2v2, one that Nightblade and TABEN must get through somehow. And Nightblade will do it all on his lonesome. Takes a goosh, but it's not any problem. The road to redemption is here.
The road to redemption. It begins with a pistol round victory, and they've accomplished it. But there needs to be a lot more. No force buy from Boss, just a deagle for Fruit Cup, a flashbang for Slight, and a P250 for Sauce. Love some P250 action, so we'll see. Meanwhile, Galil's on 3, AK on 2. Lycus going all in on the buys here. Not really going for utility, going for the frag and firepower potential instead. Molotov, down to dark. Slight, forced out of position, gets killed. Second Molotov goes in, clears out the pillar. On the obelisk, though, but a tag on the Doom does a lot of damage, and Fruit Cup's still here. They haven't cleared him, but now they do. That should just about solidify the round as Sauce falls into turn. Last two standing, 1 and 2. They fall like flies. And now, 2 in a row for Lycus Empire, but they're going to be tested. The guns are out for Boss, and the utility is there as well.
Lot riding on this one here for the scope of this half. For Boss specifically, I'd say, just because of the amount of momentum the T side can develop in such a short period of time. So straight away, what is that game plan to get a player set on a specific part of the map? Right now, not really much focus on the middle end, not much focus on Darty, a very self-sufficient player in his own right on A. But Sauce is straight up going to have to do a lot of work out the gates, and he finds himself a double, and no trade potential means that Sauce can go ham. Triple kill for him in this round here, and all of a sudden, Boss just look like strong front runners in round number 15.
Why do they wait for the 1-1 peak? They gave Sauce so much time to reset in between each duel. Oh my gosh. It's Counter-Strike 101. You don't pick one at a time. It used to say it in the loading screen and go. Don't peek one at a time. Oh my gosh, that is Alright, that's gonna make Sauce feel good about himself. He almost gets the 4th out of that too, which is crazy. But at that point, he's just getting 3 individual 1v1s. At some point, he's gonna lose the duel. But he gets 3 for the price of 1. He's feeling good. Alright, I'm showing up on these guys. And Frizzy's made all the noise.
Yeah, there's not really much secret about where he's headed off to. And B-Wills will get that last kill. 10 now for Boss. And again, I spoke about what that means for the scope of this half. And now straight away you see the potency of Boss. On the defense, granted, gifted a lifeline with that mid-play. And already getting to the end of the coffers on the Lycus Empire end. Mac 10 on Magic and running out of runway here. Perhaps just a B-pop might be the simple solution. But this one's gonna have to be one hell of a B-pop. And it's not. At all. Actually.
It's quite the opposite. Just a complete and total disaster. a very dismal showing. As Lycus' time in the series seems to be running towards its end. See what they can do. Once more, things go from bad to worse for Lycus Empire. Pistols, one player with armor, 2 flashbangs for utility. That nade, you do some damage. A lot of damage.
Yeah. I like that little setup there. Lull Fruit Cup, or lull Nightblade into a false sense of security, then chunk him with the nade. Fruit Cup completes a couple more kills. Even more on offer here on the back of the B bomb site. And his teammates will help clean up all the action. Match point now for Boss as they look to trounce their way into the second stage of competition. And for Lycus, very, very dismal showing. From really start to finish, I think we maybe had one good half of Counter-Strike out of them, if that. And that's a real worrying sign moving forward.
We got 7 good rounds. And that was about it. Nice shot with the slight. As an aggressive push from TABEN sees him dry fighting Darty, who's already chunked him down with utility. The inevitable is looming more and more over the heads of Lycus Empire, and that's a trip down to the lower bracket. They play the loser of Getting Info versus
Lag.
Lag right there. And it's not going to be an easy game for either, especially since Getting Info have turned things around in map 2. Meanwhile, I believe we have Margareta Estrada versus the loser of Blue Jays and Marsborn on our side of things, so that'll be an interesting one. Ooh, good action. They need more. There's the second. This round's open. There's an opportunity for Lycus Empire.
Yeah, very barren defense. Just ripped to shreds by Nightblade. Completely disassembling that one. Definitely got to commend him for that. Fruit Cup and Darty will still have a hand at this one. Especially with how hot Fruit Cup is feeling right now. Continue to encroach, but it should be a Nightblade on for the ace and nearly gets it over the line. 15 HP from that achievement. Now that nade should be the end of Fruit Cup, and it shall. 20 kills for him, but another round at least on display here for Lycus Empire. Credit to Nightblade. Been very quiet this entire series and finally finds that necessary impact to carve up a round.
They have to carve 6 more to take it to overtime. This is going to be a rough ski one. Such a long road back in. They can't all rely on 4Ks from Nightblade. And I don't think they'll get another opportunity like that last round either. For Boss, it's got to be a one and done. Can't let that happen again. Definitely need much more. Team and for Boss, moving forward. A good flash from TABEN allows Doom to get the entry. Playing that position consistently. And when they don't just dry fight him one at a time, 3 in a row, it's a little bit more difficult to get the 3K out of it.
And now, Fruit Cup tasked with a lot of importance here in middle, and re-peeking there feels a little overzealous. Luckily, the trade from Darty is there, but now Lycus Empire are aware of how dislodged the A anchor is. This site is undermanned, and they should be able to get this bomb down. Darty still lives to tell the tale, still trying to duel forward, and he gets one and nearly lines up a second. I don't know how he's getting so many offers. Doom on the other end. Oh my goodness, so many targets on Darty's plate, and he doesn't have the bullets to shoot every one of them. The Lycus Empire should get themselves an 8th as well, considering the finances. And they inch ever closer. It's going to take a little bit more, but they're still getting their heads in the game right now.
Starting to become more and more feasible for Lycus Empire to get back into this. They're only down by 5 now. Pistol's out for Boss, but we've seen Boss have success with a buy similar to this before. This very map, as a matter of fact. Sees the push, gets nothing. Damage, sure, but the flashbang perfect. Magic cannot convert. Not good at all. The gun's not recoverable. That's the only silver lining here. But Fruit Cup Deagle might just ruin the day of Nightblade or more. Molotov won't force him out. He's still allowed to take a good angle. Tries to go for the headshot. Can't quite land it. B will though. He's around the site. Yes, and he swings out, but he can't bring the Deagle to bear. Too much recoil. Slice does accomplish just that, but what a return. What a refrag from Nightblade.
Solid there. And now Darty will have to hold on to this AK. 4 more rounds needed to claw this one back, and Lycus Empire is still yet to plant the bomb. Very curious as to why it took that long, but either way, semantics. Game gets closer and closer. Still don't feel as though Boss have that tingling sensation that this one could be choked away. But we're getting closer and closer to that point. Couple more hurdles to cross.
Now again, this was just the pistol round from Boss, so they'll have another buy up here. Do want to see Slight on the op on the CT side. Do want to see him try and get that activated. Already spotted one, but that spray is way too wild. Never gonna work. He is put down. No op for Slight. Might even save your Boss half buy here. Make sure you get your full firepower. That's exactly what they're gonna do. It's not like they're throwing the round away either. I like this call.
It's just like that Furia-esque buy where on the first buy round they would buy all MP9s. You still have potency with those close-range SMGs, but there is always that extra bonus of getting that knockout blow with a full buy. Making sure that Slight's got that AWP. TABEN still finds his first man with that AWP going aggressive here in the middle. But Fruit Cup has gotten on over to that left-hand side. And that can be dangerous. That has the potency of really causing a ruckus, especially now that B-Wolves has been spotted. Dink is up. And Fruit Cup will continue to surge forward. Darty's there with one. Doom trying to chime back in the other way, and he deals with the threat. That's very wonderfully done, and that really keeps them alive in this series altogether. Slight now left up in 1-on-4, just trying to find some sort of damage, and he can't do it. But now the purchase comes through. 3 chances now still for Boss to close this one out. And they'll have all the bells and whistles to do it.
The op for Slight. The M4 is the utility for the rest of the roster. Slight lacks utility, but it's not really that big of an issue. The rest of the team has what they need. 2 kits up 2. This is where Boss just need to put their foot down. Their collective foot, the Voltron foot. And just win it. Or I guess you could say Megazord as well if you want to go Power Rangers. Either way. They just have to win it. 1 more round. That's all it takes. Sometimes that 1 round is the most elusive. All this now is control for Magic. Yes, he has taken damage. Around the corner, B-Wolves will telegraph Magic's position. B-Wolves is going to be heard, and the smoke will again betray his spot. For Boss, and for Lycus. This round is most incredibly important. Lycus obviously can't afford to lose another one. Boss, on the other hand, desperately need to end this now. They can't let Lycus hang around any longer.
And now, they encroach upon this B bomb site and still have feelers out in middle. TABEN will have that camera angle to rely upon if they want to go back. Flash in for B-Wills and engagement on this E-box end. Nobody to give up a kill just yet, and Magic still hits the shot. An absolute missile in the E-box, and now an opportunity to bulldoze their way into this B bomb site. Sauce is going to try his hand at helping out. Fruit Cup chimes in, the spam is slightly off the mark, and Doom is there on the trade. TABEN finally unlocks with that mid lurk, and it's all up to Slight in the 1v3. TABEN still finds a way to get all the way to B main, and now it's a save sim for Slight. Lycus Empire have found a way to just scamper along and drag their way closer and closer to overtime. These rounds aren't clean, they aren't masterfully planned, but they're just getting the job done. And at the end of the day, staying alive in the competition is all that you need before you can get that knockout blow.
Just one round at a time for Lycus Empire. That's exactly what they're having to try and do. Slight will get a little more confidence boosting with that second kill. He's not had a good map at all. In fact, bottom of the scoreboard on his team. Fruit Cup again really carrying the banner for Boss, which is good to see, but he needs a little bit more help. It can't just be Fruit Cup and Sauce in his isolation moments. There needs to be somebody else to step up for this team. They're going to buy around the op at least halfway. MP9's on 2, Deagle's on 2, Armor on the full 5. No kit, but they're just going for damage, and hey, if they win the round, they win the round. It's not exactly all their eggs in this one basket. They're trying to line their ducks up in a row for the next round instead. Slight. Tested first, takes his shot too early, somehow able to get around it. He does have some help from B-Rolls do that. Nade will do a little bit of tickling damage, but it's not enough to really write home about. Slight's gonna bail as well, all the way out to middle, and no one's coming back through. It's all just that little B-Wills now. Good flash over. Slight has the assist as Sauce and Fruit Cup both chime into middle. 2 quick kills from the Boss boys, and Lycus Empire have not had anything to respond with. That 7 damage nade is the most they've had to answer the beginning from Boss.
And now everything to play for Lycus Empire. No map control taken. They've got to re-clear the middle of the map. And this is the Lion's Den. This is where they lost these 2 bodies to begin with. Sauce is now recovered in AK. More damage to pepper through. And Sauce will be the one to potentially just end this right here, right now. Just TABEN left up in a 1-on-5. And we will see Boss move on. Yes, there were a couple of hiccups along the road. You had that first spell on Train and the last spell here on Anubis. But at the end of the day, back-to-back 100+ DAR games from Fruit Cup showcases the individual prowess of Fruit Cup and the skill that Boss have on their roster.